The smartwatch market is about to get another shake-up as Samsung is now joining an exclusive group with the Galaxy Watch Ultra, which is poised to challenge the Apple Watch Ultra. Ecosystems aside, did it stack up well? Here's everything you need to know. Before we really get into it though, how about you hit subscribe for more comparison content coming out of Unpacked, made by Google later down the line, plus other upcoming events, and join the channel if you want to get access to an exclusive club where we give out regular wallpaper packs, chat to our biggest supporters, and more on top of that. Why are we comparing these wearables at all? Well, given the issues with incompatibility and interoperability, it probably stands to reason that you should stick with the smartwatch that works best with your smartphone. However, Samsung is offering a product that directly competes with Apple's best smartwatch, and we can discuss some of the shared traits to see which product meets the needs of the right person if you happen to straddle both ecosystems. So when I saw the Galaxy Watch Ultra in person, I thought it was 100% influenced by Apple's rugged wearable. However, I do note that it is important to remember that Samsung isn't new to this space whatsoever. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is a direct rugged predecessor to the Watch Ultra with improvements across the board. While some of the materials and some of the design decisions are certainly eyebrow raising, it's not like Samsung hasn't been attempting to create something similar, at least with Wear OS in mind. I will say though, utilizing orange on the action button and adding an optional orange watch strap really feels on the nose here. Samsung definitely isn't escaping any suggestions that the Galaxy Watch Ultra hasn't at the very least been influenced by the Apple Watch Ultra. The boxy aesthetic and the altered strap mechanism hint at that even more so, at least from where I'm stood. I'm willing to give Samsung the benefit of the doubt here by calling it a copycat would be pretty darn fair though, I must admit. That said, even though the Galaxy Watch Ultra has a rotating crown on the action button, it can't control UI elements like the Apple Watch Ultra can, so that's a little bit of a downgrade. Unlike the Galaxy Watch 7, the Watch Ultra now has an updated strap connection method, as I noted. This straps securely into the frame with the watch clip clipping in, but lugs from prior models are now incompatible. I think this is a smooth and simple process, but I do think that Apple's approach is a little bit better due to the backward and sideways compatibility with other Apple Watches. Maybe Samsung can continue to use a new connection with each new iteration of their wearable lineups, as it is annoying that you can't use existing or old straps here, at least right out of the box. Naturally, these are durability focused wearables, so both do have similar design specifications, including a rugged titanium frame and chassis. The displays are slightly different but are both OLED as well. The Apple Watch Ultra has a 49mm display with less noticeable bezels, while the Galaxy Watch Ultra is slightly smaller at 47mm. Both screens have sapphire crystal coatings for expected or added durability and protection when you're in the elements as well. And although at first glance it looks like the Galaxy Watch Ultra does have a square screen, the screen itself is actually circular. It's just the chassis itself that gives that vibe. This means that any potentially noticeable bezels have been filled with a chronograph and protective metal frame and filling that extra space out. I think despite the Watch Ultra having a marginally higher resolution 480 by 480 pixel panel, the display quality is, at least in person, it seems almost identical. I will also say that Apple's UI felt much smoother when using these side by side for what it's worth. Both have 3000 nit maximum brightnesses for easy reading in lots of bright lighting conditions and any sort of situation you put your wearable in. Another thing to note is that the Apple Watch Ultra is almost a gram heavier here at 61.3 grams compared to the 60.5 Galaxy Watch Ultra. I think you're probably going to ask yourself, is this going to make a difference? I'd say probably not, but it might affect the comfort as the Apple Watch Ultra is about 14.4mm thick and Samsung's new wearable is just 12.1mm thick, and because of that, it shouldn't stick out from your wrist quite as much. If you have a smaller wrist, that could be something to think about or consider. There are also two extra colours of the Samsung Watch for you to choose from. Like the Apple Watch, it comes in a plain titanium finish, but there's a grey or black model and a white version available for you to choose from. So if you want colours, I do think Samsung has really knocked it out of the park with these options on their first or their biggest rugged wearable today. Just circling back to the thickness for a second, I think this is an important consideration because these wearables are designed to be companions or worn in harsh environments. Think swimming, climbing, trail running, and all of the kinds of places that you wouldn't assume a regular smartwatch would be a great fit for, and if it's sticking out your wrist and catching, might be something to consider. The Galaxy Watch Ultra also has an IP68 water and dust resistance rating versus the IP6X on the Apple Watch Ultra, but both do have 10 ATM or 100 meter water resistance. That means that both watches should be water resistant for even the deepest of dives, but the Galaxy Watch Ultra might have the edge, at least in sheer resilience. We all know that battery life is crucial for any smartwatch designed for extended adventures, and both of these wearables are designed with that in mind, at least luckily for us. The Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra does have a larger 598 mAh internal cell. That's slightly larger than the Apple Watch Ultra's supposed 542 mAh internal cell, and that isn't publicly shared by Apple, so I do think that is derived from lots of other teardowns and other information online. I don't think that always paints a good picture, at least the battery capacities, due to the efficiency differences between the two systems, such as whether you're using LTE connections, doing lots of GPS and fitness tracking, or putting your watch under other stresses or using particular applications. The Apple Watch Ultra does boast a respectable 36 hours of real-world usage, but I do think it often exceeds this figure, at least in the experiences we've had from team members and people I do know who have this wearable. 48 hours is actually quite feasible in most scenarios with the Apple Watch Ultra. Samsung claims pretty astounding 100 hours of lifespan when using specific on-device power-saving modes, which does mean you'll lose out on some functionality, and a typical 48 hours between charges when using the standard modes, which again is very impressive. We'll have to test that, as we haven't been able to test this fully, at least during our short hands-on period. But based on previous generations of the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic and the Watch 5 Pro models, they've handled 48 hours without any previous pressure. So I think they will, I wouldn't be surprised if Samsung does manage to make it past that barrier. Although the chargers are incompatible here as well, they are similar, with magnetic pucks charging both smartwatches fully in around an hour or just after an hour. So if you do want to top it up once a day or once every couple of days, it should be pretty easy to do so. So a true outdoor rugged wearable needs to be able to track all of your fitness endeavors, whatever they may be. The Apple Watch Ultra and the Galaxy Watch Ultra cater to basic fitness tracking modes, but there are a few extras thrown in here that might be useful for die-hard fitness fanatics or fitness freaks. At the end of the day, neither of these are really dedicated fitness watches like a Garmin or a Polar Watch. They're smartwatches with enhanced fitness modes thrown in, so your mileage may vary when you're actually using these in the field. One of the key new features touted by Samsung on the Watch Ultra is a personalized HR zone, and this analyzes your workouts or your previous workouts with AI to give optimum intensity levels for future fitness sessions. It also gives you full tracking data without a subscription with the Samsung Health app. Also, like the Apple Watch Ultra, the Galaxy Watch now has a multi-sports tile that lets you create triathlon tracking for workouts, allowing you to set specific modes like swimming, cycling, running, like you would on a triathlon. Aside from the fitness modes, we all know that watchOS and wearOS are, to borrow an old English idiom, like chalk and cheese, but they have many refinements for the corresponding chipsets. 32GB of storage comes as standard on both of these, meaning you've got lots of space for apps, podcasts, music, and then more on top of that. The performance seemed pretty solid across both of these, but I will say at times I was pretty convinced that the Apple Watch Ultra felt a little bit more fluid, but this could have been due to a low battery on some of the Galaxy Watch Ultra units that we happened to test during our brief hands-on period. When we look at these smartwatches a bit more broadly, I think the pricing is where things get interesting, as Samsung is offering its latest smartwatch for quite a bit less at $649 or £599 versus $799 or £799 for the Apple Watch Ultra in the UK and the US. Despite the lower pricing structure, you even get cellular connectivity thrown in, which is something that the Apple Watch also has as standard. As we stated at the start of this comparison, I have to say, if you use an iPhone, then it's a no-brainer, as you will want the Apple Watch Ultra. If you have an Android phone, things are a little bit more complex. If you want the only out-and-out rugged wearable that is compatible with Android right now, then the Galaxy Watch Ultra is a very well-priced product. One annoyance is that you will get more functionality though if you're using a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, which I think makes it frustrating if you are a non-Samsung phone user or even a hater. Therefore, I think for that reason, it's hard to give it a full 100% seal of approval or recommendation to everybody out there. Even so, it's worth noting the Galaxy Watch Ultra is probably one of the most compelling Wear OS watches yet made, and maybe the catalyst for even more rugged Android-powered alternatives to the Apple Watch Ultra in the future. I want to ask you though, what do you think so far? I mean, this was a brief video, we're trying to compare apples to oranges, but do you think we need more rugged wearables, and do you think there is a winner between these two? Depending, obviously, ecosystems aside. Shout at your phone, your TV, or do one better and leave a comment down in the comment section below. That always gets our attention. Thanks to the absolute legends on screen now. We love you. I hope you enjoyed this video. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.